Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fit and fine. So dear students, as you know that we are practicing sample paper 1. As of now we have practiced till question number 9. Today we are going to practice question number 10 of sample paper 1. Let us begin. Question number 10. Answer any 5 of the following questions in 30 to 40 words. Answer any 5 of the following questions. Answer any 5 of the following questions in 30 to 40 words. In 30 to 40 words. Question number 1. How will a huge silence interrupt the sadness of men? How will a huge silence silence how will a huge silence interrupt the sadness of men? A huge silence interrupt double R interrupt the sadness of men. How will a huge silence interrupt the sadness of men? Okay, so as we all know, this question has been taken from the poem Keeping Quiet. This question has been taken from the poem Keeping Quiet, in which the poem tells us the power of keeping quiet, the power of introspecting ourselves. So now let us write down the answer. A huge silence can interrupt the sadness. A huge silence can interrupt the sadness. A huge silence can interrupt the sadness of men by making them introspect. Sadness of men by making them introspect and understand themselves in a better way, and understand themselves in a better way, and understand themselves in a better way, it would help us in analyzing ourselves. It would help us in analyzing ourselves. It would help us in analyzing ourselves and our actions according to the poet Pablo Neruda, how introspecting uh, is helpful for ourselves, how it gives us time to introspect, to justify our action. Okay, we should write all these points. This would interrupt the sadness of threatening ourselves. This would interrupt the sadness of threatening ourselves with death. The sadness of threatening ourselves with death. Okay, dear students. So how will a huge silence interrupt the sadness of men? A huge silence can interrupt the sadness of men by making them introspect and understand themselves in a better way. It would help us in analyzing ourselves and our actions. This would interrupt the sadness of threatening ourselves with death. Thus, keeping quiet is helpful for us. Let me rub it and write down next question. Now, question number 2. What image does Keats use to describe what image does Keats use to describe the beautiful bounty of the earth? The beautiful bounty of the earth. What image does Keats use to describe the beautiful bounty of earth? So as we all know that this question has been taken from the poem A Thing of Beauty written by John Keats. Okay, let us write down the answer. John Keats in his poem John Keats, sorry, Keats in his poem A Thing of Beauty, in his poem A Thing of Beauty, uses the image of an immortal fountain, uses the image of an immortal fountain, uses the image of an immortal fountain that constantly pours bounties on the earth, that constantly pours bounties on the earth, that constantly pours bounties on the earth in the form of an immortal drink from the heavens, in the form of an immortal drink from the form of an immortal drink from the heaven, from the heaven. The beauty of the sun, the moon, the trees, the beauty, the beauty of the sun, the moon, the trees, beauty of the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers and clear rivers are reflections. The flowers and the clear rivers are reflection the reflections of the beautiful bounties, reflections of the beautiful bounties. Let me rub it and finish this answer. Beautiful. Let me write it and then show you later. Beautiful bounties God has blessed with us. Beautiful bounties God has blessed with us. Okay, let me show you the whole answer. You can take the screenshot now. Okay. John Keats in his poem A Thing of Beauty uses the image of an immortal fountain that constantly pours bounties on the earth in the form of an immortal drink from the heaven. The beauty of the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers and the clear rivers are the reflections of the beautiful bounties God has blessed with us. Okay. There is one correction, dear students. It should be the God has blessed us with, not with us. With us is wrong here. It does not make any sense. Okay, does not make the proper sense. So God has blessed us with. Now take the screenshot, or you can pause the video and write down. Okay, I am going to rub it and write down the next question and answer. Question number 3. What changes did the order from Berlin what changes did the order from Berlin? What changes did the order from Berlin cause in the school that day? Berlin cause in the school that day. Okay. What changes did the order from Berlin cause in the school that day? Let us write the answer. The order from Berlin caused an unusual silence. The order from Berlin caused an unusual silence all over the school that day. All over the school that day. All over the school that day. There was no noise of anything like opening and closing desks. There was no noise of anything. There was no noise of anything like opening or closing the desk, like opening or closing the desks. lessons repeated in unison, etc. Lessons repeated in unison, etc. Lessons repeated in unison, etc. All the important people of the village, all the important people of the village, all the important people of the village and many villagers has come to school, and many villagers have come to school and were sitting. Many villagers have come to school and were sitting on the back benches of MML's class. If we would write had, it would more appropriate. Had come to school and was sitting at the back benches of Hamill's class. Okay, so this was the change which took place that day when order came from Berlin. So what changes did the order from Berlin cause in the school that day? So as we know that the order came from Berlin that there would be no teaching of French, no more teaching of French in the school of Alsace and Lorraine. This was the order. So the order from Berlin caused an unusual silence all over the school that day. There was no noise of anything like opening or closing the desks, lesson repeated in unison, etc. All the important people of the village and many villagers, it should be villagers, and many villagers had come to school and were sitting at the back benches of Hamill's class. Let me rub it and write down next question and answer. Question number 4. In spite of despair and disease pervading the lives of slum children, in spite of, question number 4, in spite of despair and disease pervading the lives of slum children, the life the lives of slum children, the lives of slum children, they are not devoid of hope. They are not devoid of hope. They are not devoid of hope. How far do you agree? How far do you agree? Sorry. How far do you agree? In spite of despair, this is despair, sorry, despair and disease pervading the lives of slum children, they are not devoid of hope. How far do you agree? So as we know that this question has been taken from the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. So let us write down the answer now. I agree that the children living in the slum, I agree that the children, I agree that the children living in the slum are not devoid of hope. They are not devoid of hope. Their eyes dream of a better future. Their eyes dream of a better future. Their eyes dream of a better future which is distant and beyond their reach. Which is distant and beyond their reach. Which is distant and beyond their reach. They dream of open seas and green fields. They dream of open seas and open fields and green seas. Open fields and green seas. They dream of open fields and green seas while watching the squirrels game. While watching the squirrels game. Let us write here open seas and green fields. dear students. So I agree that the children living in the slum are not devoid of hope. Their eyes dream of a better future which is distant and beyond their reach. They dream of open seas and green fields while watching the squirrels game. Okay, so it's all about this answer and it's all about this video too. In my next video, I will discuss the remaining questions in this sample paper and their answers too will be discussed. After finishing this sample paper, I will explain poem 4, The Thing of Beauty. So thank you students for watching this video. See you tomorrow.